Hey, this is Jonno. Just wanted to let you know really quick that this episode is going to be a two-parter. We have a lot to talk about, so just bear with us. And if you dig the discussion, make sure to jump over to part two after you're finished with part one. Hello, fellow denizens. I'm Jonathan, otherwise known as Jonno, and my well-trained beyond recognition Pokemon are going to pound you.
And I'm Zantok, otherwise known as Lista. And I'm the undefeated champion of the Galar region with my undefeated Charizard, bad with directions. And did I mention that I'm the undefeated champion of the Galar region?
Yes, I believe you sure did. And my quote was
I'm sorry, it's been
pulled
five
from.
seconds since I last mentioned it. I need to tell you again that I'm the undefeated champion of the Galar region.
I love that. I'm so happy that you could be here with me today to tell me that information. It's very pertinent to my life. Um, as for me, I just want to let you know that my quote was pulled directly from Pokemon Soul Silver. As you're wrapping up your Let's Play on Select Start Gaming, I've been watching it.
It's
And that
funny you
quote came
say
to
how
mind
I'm
for my
wrapping
opening
it
bit.
up when it's already finished uploading.
Yep. Yep.
We're already on the
That's
next
true.
game.
Yep, you're already
Who's
on the
ready
next
to
game.
swing through the city of New York as Spider-Man?
Very good. Nothing better to bring in the new year than some Spidey Boo.
Well,
Well,
fireworks. A new
fireworks.
Smash
You're getting
character.
a
How,
new
how,
Smash.
how about that Smash reveal at the Game Awards, right, guys?
Oh
What
yeah,
there
I
wasn't
can't
one?
wait.
Shit.
Oh well, I'll tell you. At least we got Fast and the Furious revealed.
Oh
That was
boy.
great. That was awesome. Um, yeah, talk about underwhelming, but at least it was kind of entertaining watching everything fall apart.
The Muppet segment was fun.
So yes, it was, and so was that Lego car. Wait, that was not this year.
That was no that wasn't no.
Well, there's not that many highlights from this year, are there? Well, Reggie was there. That was nice. I
Yeah.
almost thought that he was going to be revealed for Smash as a me deity.
No.
Okay. Well, nevertheless, I think that we should tell the good people, first off, Happy New Year. That's right. 2020 is upon us, a whole new decade, and I don't know about you. That might be mildly terrifying to some of us,
Ah,
but I am looking forward to it. That means that we can bring you our first full year of Super Cast Brothers, for better or for worse, for
that's the
worse or
real
for
terrifying
poorer.
part.
Uh, yep, it's the first full decade of Super Cast Brothers. How about that? Oh man,
And we're in the double digits now. Episode 10.
yeah, we are, and it's our next on topic, the first on topic of the year to kick things off. You would recall, I know it's been a whole decade now, but you might recall that our previous on topic covered a recap essentially with our friends Jake and Trevor of the moment that changed everything for the community with Everyone Is Here, where we looked back on that ultimate trailer for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, revealing that every veteran ever would return to the series. And we also topped it off with Ridley. And that was a pretty fun conversation. But now Lister and I are going to assess
What's next?
what's next. That's
Oh
not an
boy.
overwhelming topic at all. We're not going to go over at all.
This is the big one, everyone. This is the big
Mhm.
one. And you might be thinking, well, why are you talking about what's next now? We're still getting more DLC. Well, you're not wrong. Maybe we could
Mhm.
have waited, but we both felt like after our last discussion was about the Everyone Is Here trailer and our reactions to it and all the crazy information we got, that this was a good time to do what's next. And we also have no idea when DLC for Smash will end. All we know at this
Mhm.
point is that there will be more DLC after the Fighter Pass ends. That could be one more character, it could be two, it could be 10. We don't know. So we wanted to go ahead
Mhm.
and get this discussion happening sooner rather than later, to where it's another year's passed. And it's like, hey, what were we going to talk about in that one again? Oh right.
Yeah, exactly. And this is an interesting precipice to leap from in that case, because we have to approach this from an angle of not knowing what comes next for Ultimate still, but deciding what's coming next for the potential future game, and everybody else says, "Oh, this will be Sakurai's last. Oh, this will be this. This will be the last Smash Brothers."
That's what they've said the
Even
last
though
three
Ultimate
times.
is Ultimate, it is truly the greatest we've ever seen. With everyone involved, we're still going to get more. Smash
Hmm.
Brothers is a major system seller. It's the basis of this podcast and millions of conversations that have spanned decades
Oh yes.
on the internet and elsewhere. It's not going anywhere, and we're kind of tasking ourselves with this insurmountable thing. Um, so I guess generally speaking, are we approaching this from kind of it being a soft reboot with a bunch of cuts? Or are we saying that things are mostly going to be kept the same? Like, say that we expand upon Ultimate and just say, oh, yeah, every character and every stage is still here, and we're just putting more in. How do you even want to approach this?
There's three possibilities that I think Smash could move forward on from where we are right now. And the least likely of them is a continuation of Everyone is Here, where the
Hmm.
next Smash essentially, for the sake of argument, we'll call it Ultimate 2. It's with they bring back every character again. And as many states possible because they didn't bring back every stage, which was unfortunate. Poor
Hmm.
Poke Floats. But it's
Seriously.
incredibly unlikely because one, the Sakurai even said so himself. By the time the next match happens, we will be, if we're not at 100 characters, we'll be just on the cusp. We'll be just
Yeah.
barely not there. And
Hmm.
to the amount of work that would be, the amount of developers, time, money that would take to put all those characters back in again, even if they're just more or less copy pasting from Ultimate, it's going to be extreme. And that doesn't even count
Hmm.
the fact that we have so many third party characters now,
Oh, yeah.
and getting the
The
rights to
licensing.
getting the licensing
Hmm.
for the rights to use these characters in the base roster, it's going to be a nightmare. We almost didn't have everyone is here. We almost didn't get Cloud. We
Yep.
almost missed the whole thing. Which
Hmm.
some have theorized it's because Square wanted him to be DLC so they could get more money out of it. Which I get it, but screw you. We wanted the whole thing. So
Hmm.
I don't think Everyone is Here Part Two can happen. It's unfortunate, but I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah.
From there, our other possibilities are either Sakurai does his best. You have a whole bunch of characters. They're kind of ranked in an order of who's top priority. Like you have to have Mario, you have to have Link, you have to have Pikachu. There's some characters that if they're not in, you don't have a game. But then there's
Yeah.
characters that are going to be further down the list that if they have the time for it, it'd be great to have them back. But if they don't have the time for it, I mean, there's worse things that could happen. That's actually one of them that I think would be lower down the priority list.
Hmm.
Supposedly, if things are true, which I do not claim to be speaking the truth on this, supposedly Jigglypuff almost missed out on Brawl, and
Hmm.
cause the way the rumor goes is that Sonic was a late addition to Brawl, and the added time that they had for development allowed them to not only put in Sonic, but to bring back Jigglypuff, to create Toon Link, and to create Wolf. So if
Hmm.
that's true, we almost lost Jigglypuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could other characters like all the Echo Fighters, all the third parties, the Me Fighters, uh, Corin, Wolf
Yeah.
again, Rosalina,
Hmm.
Little Mac, Wait for
Hmm.
Trainer, Isabel. I could see any of them being on the low priority list. It's not that they don't want to bring them back. It's not that they're not going to try. It's just, do they have the time?
Yeah.
And because they also not only are they going to go through all these old characters, but there's new characters that they add too. You can't just not include new people. That's insanity. That would
Yeah,
never
and I think
happen.
if we're coming from this angle of okay, these characters are not going to return, that means that we're going to see more of a surplus of newcomers
Yeah.
than Ultimate offered on in the base game. 100%. Like whether that's double or even triple the amount, I'm not sure. Uh, but to accommodate that, I think fans in general for any game series will tend to undervalue or underestimate the amount of time and effort that goes into developing this game. You can't just say the entire roster will return
Yep.
uh, when you're not taking into consideration building an engine from the ground up and bringing these characters in from the ground up and only being able to port in certain assets from each character, if anything, if it applies with the current system. And also just the desire to have that new uh, engine in play and develop that new engine, because if you don't, it's just going to be the same damn game every single time.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Physics of the game engine are going to change. Art style is going to change. Just general animations, how the characters look. They, we're going to see changes no matter what. You can't just
Hmm.
do a complete one-to-one insert. If this was like NES, SNES fighting game days, Marvel
Oh,
vs.
yeah.
Capcom 2, yeah, they could copy and
Which
paste
was,
characters
yeah.
into it
Hmm.
because it was all just the 2D pixels.
Hmm.
But you know what happened to Marvel vs. Capcom 2? Zero balancing. Zero.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
it's still a fun game, but from a balancing perspective, with that many characters in it, bit of a mess. And
Dude,
there was four
it's like
characters that
freaking
absolutely
Mugen.
dominated the entire game. If you weren't
Hmm.
running a team of at least or three of the four of Sentinel, Cable, Magneto, or Storm, you probably weren't going to win.
Hmm. Oh, boy.
But
See that preference for X-Men that Marvel really projected into the universe during that era? Wasn't that nice? Wish we can kind of have that now. Anyway.
I mean, they had more X Men than Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite did. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's right. They had
Hmm.
none in that game.
Wait,
Oh,
Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite exists?
well,
Whoops.
we don't like to acknowledge its existence.
No.
But I mentioned there's three possibilities that Smash could go from here. The third
Hmm.
one is a soft reboot of sorts. I don't necessarily
Yeah.
mean that they would be changing how the game plays. They could.
Hmm.
They
Oh,
absolutely
yeah.
could. They could make it more of a traditional 2D fighter, like your Street Fighters or your versus Capcoms.
Power
Or they
Stone,
could.
Smash Brothers.
I don't think Power Stone I would call traditional. But
Oh,
they
no,
or they
a
could do
3D
like
Arena Fighter.
yeah, that's what I was about to mention next is or they could do like a 3D arena fighter like your Power Stone, your Tekken, your Soul Calibur.
Hmm.
I don't think they would do that, but it is a possibility. But when I say reboot, what I more mean is instead of just doing their best, including as many characters as they can again, instead it's more of an approach of here are the characters we are including. Here's a large list of characters who we're intentionally not going to include this time around, which would allow them to in a way kind of start fresh because you can take all the characters that you're keeping and make more modifications to them because you're having a much smaller roster. So like I'm
Yeah.
imagining taking this down from 90-ish down to let's say 40. So you're having 40
Oof,
returning characters, massive cuts, but
it's like
maybe now
Thanos
this
snapped his
gives them
fingers.
yeah, maybe now this gives them time to make Ganondorf no longer be anything like Captain Falcon. Maybe now
Hmm.
this gives them time to fix up Samus. Samus is another one of the characters who, whenever discussions get brought up about characters that do not play like their games at all or that aren't faithful to the character, Samus gets brought up just as often as Ganondorf does.
Hmm.
In the more recent games, Smash 4 and Ultimate, they do a great job of making the characters feel like who they are and feel like they came from their games. But the original Smash, Melee, and to a degree Brawl, it's not really there. It's more of
Yeah,
let's
agreed.
turn this character into a fighter, and to a degree, I don't have a problem with that. But if they
Hmm.
were to do this soft reboot, they could retool the characters to be to just fight completely differently. You could even take Mario and completely wipe out his moves and give him a whole new set of tools. Maybe instead
Hmm.
of the cape, maybe he will have the raccoon tail. Maybe instead
Yeah.
of the fireball, he gets. Honestly, we can just keep the fireball.
The big fireball.
No, I think we just keep the fireball for Mario. Let's be honest here. But like we could
Oh,
ditch
yeah.
Flood finally, and get
Yeah.
some other moves there. Like people wanted the Star Spin uh, for Smash Four instead of Flood, which considering Galaxy was right before Brawl, that would have made a lot of sense more than the stupid Flood did. But
Yeah.
it would give you the opportunity to just make a lot of changes. Then you'd still add some characters, but you
Like
wouldn't
Flood could be his own character.
theoretically. Sure.
Would it be
But
better than Piranha Plant? Anyway,
honestly, I, that's a tough question. I think I'd rather have Piranha Plant than have Flood. If I'm being honest here.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But what else? But just because the characters are being cut from this hypothetical reboot doesn't mean in the reboot sequel those characters can't come back. If we cut, let's say, Greninja from the reboot in reboot 2, he can come back. Why not?
oh yeah,
At that point,
yep,
he's new-ish to the reboot, and you can just change him up a little bit more. Which
yeah,
one of these scenarios is more likely? Honestly, that's impossible to tell. We just don't know.
yeah,
It's and anytime we've tried to predict what Sakurai's going to do, it failed, utterly failed.
yeah. Like saying that he was going to reveal something at the Game Awards in 2019.
Well, yeah,
Yep,
or thinking that we were going to get Ultimate as soon as we did. I was shocked
that's
that we were
true.
getting Ultimate that
Mm-hmm.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, work on it had to have started either while DLC was still happening for Smash 4 or shortly after. And then
Yeah.
from announcement to release, it was less than half a year. Insanity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, luckily we don't have to predict what's coming next more than we well, that's kind of the frame of this conversation, but in this particular avenue, at the very least, we could probably just say, how do we want to approach it for this podcast, and what would be the most productive or conducive for us as we approach this. Off the top of my head, I would nix Ultimate 2.0 because it just seems very unlikely,
Oh yeah.
even from that foremost standpoint. I personally would be very excited by a soft reboot with all those cuts, because I do think that Smash having a refresh of sorts would not be bad for it at all. Uh, but at the same time, would it be more or less easier to say, and just having the conventional wisdom of, oh, every other Smash game, and there's been what there's been six so far,
Mm-hmm.
hasn't reinvented the formula like that. We can possibly just say that, oh, there will be some cuts and there will be some new characters, and it'll be like business as usual, continuing off from like Smash 4 into this, as opposed to having that major ultimate revitalization with a few new modes, this and that. Uh, how would we approach it?
As far as our discussion for this podcast, at least in terms of the notes that I came up with, my notes can
Mm-hmm.
apply to either a stock reboot or just continuing business as usual. I wrote them
Got
out
it.
to be more neutral in that way because it's hard to tell how things are going on. I wanted to have things
Well,
that
that's helpful then.
oh yeah, absolutely. I wanted it to be no matter what scenario goes on, what I've come
Mm-hmm.
up with could theoretically work. In terms of what I think or what I want, you mentioned you mentioned that it would be a good way to transition off of Ultimate, and I think it'd sort of be like a palate cleanser. Like we had all this crazy stuff, now let's slow down and come up with a new approach. But one thing
Yeah.
that you keyed in on that I want to really speak to is uh, changing the wheel, changing how it all works. I feel like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of companies or TV shows or movies or whatever, they feel like, hey, we've been doing this X thing, this Y way for years. Let's change it to change it. Hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes change is good, absolutely, but when companies come in or a CEO or whoever comes in and says, "Let's change this thing," and people are just like, but it works. Everybody likes this way. I don't care. Let's change it. We need to change. We need to change to survive. That's not how things really
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, yes, you made a huge mistake. You've screwed things up. You need to change if you want to survive. Final
Oh yeah.
Fantasy 11, no 14. Final Fantasy 14, the second online edition of the game, it launched and everyone hated it. Hated it. And they fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
They changed it all up, they fixed it. But if they had done that to 11, which people liked, and they decided, let's completely nuke the game and completely redo it. Just like, but it's working. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What are
Mm-hmm.
you doing? That's bad. But but I don't mean to say that change is necessarily bad. I just don't think change should ever happen purely for the sake of change. And I don't
Oh
think I
yeah.
think Sakurai agrees with that mindset. He hasn't really spoken about it to my knowledge, but just the general sense I get from the guy, I feel like he agrees that change for the sake of change is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was to try
Mm-hmm.
and predict Sakurai, I don't think we will get a soft reboot. I think we would just get
Yeah.
business as usual. But
Agreed.
I kind of feel like a soft reboot. I'm not opposed to it. Would I be upset when my fan favorite characters are cut from the game? Yes, I would be upset. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go rant on Twitter or send harassment letters or whatever to anyone. That's ridiculous. People on the internet, you crazy. Let's be real here.
Mm-hmm.
You crazy. But
Mm-hmm.
I would not be opposed to a soft reboot just in general because it's going to be a nice way to reset the playing field, put the pieces back on the board, and just see how things work a second time around. It'll be sad
Yeah.
in the beginning, and I feel like the internet would revolt at it, which is a good
Mm-hmm.
reason why not to do it. But
Yep.
it would be interesting, and so long as Sakurai was at the helm, I don't think it would turn out poorly. If Sakurai was replaced and it was somebody else doing this, oh dear, oh god, no faith.
Miyamoto's gonna jump in there and give you the sticker star smash that you always wanted.
The Sticker Star, the Star Fox Zero, the
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I would not like that kind of scenario. If it's soft reboot with Sakurai still in the helm, I'll give him my trust. If it's anybody
Agreed.
else, no trust.
Yeah. Agreed. By the soft reboot, I was more so thinking the same battle system, same direction in general, but
Yeah,
having the cuts necessary to necessitate a lot of changes to move sets. That's essentially it.
yeah, absolutely.
Especially, yeah. So the mass culling would allow us to have the changed Ganondorf, but it also allow you to revisit movesets like, say, if Sheik were still in the game, and be able to replace that moveset uh, with something a lot more functional and true to Sheik's role as supposed Sheikah. That's that
I'm
sort of thing.
sorry, Sheik has a role besides just teaching you songs.
No, but we have to kind of pretend, don't we? We can just pretend more to pull more from actual Zelda motifs and stuff. Things like
Let's
that.
be real. Would either of us be disappointed if Sheik was replaced with Impa? Just completely
No,
replaced. Yeah, me either. Yeah,
most people would
Imp,
be though, and it has more to do with melee.
fair.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, adding
Impa.
just to speak on the addition of Sheik to Smash for a brief moment here, it was a very cool idea to add Zelda and Sheik as a transforming character to Melee, completely new mechanic that no other character had. It was
Mm-hmm.
extremely interesting. But now that we're in through Ultimate, the two characters no longer transform into each other, and we're discussing a hypothetical reboot. Yeah, I would not be disappointed if we lost Sheik and got Impa to better represent the Sheikah themselves. That would just
Agreed.
work better. The only problem is, all right, which Impa design? Because like only two of them look like they'd be good at fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe three, if you
Yep.
count warriors. It'd be
And I
warriors, Ocarina, and Skyward Sword.
yeah.
Can you imagine
Yep.
Breath of the Wild Impa in the game? No,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
no.
No, I had, and you know that I had my ideas on how to make a pull an Impa move set from out of thin air, but that's not our topic today,
No, it's not.
or at least it isn't yet.
True.
Um, so just generally though, I guess we don't really have to stand to the acumen of saying, okay, this is what we're going to choose. So that's good. Let's just say it's either the soft reboot or the business as usual, and it's more than likely going to be business than usual. But at the same time, we don't really know.
Right.
Um, but with that said, pursuing it from either angle, um, how are we feeling about characters that have the greatest potential to be cut?
I made a list of roughly 20, well, ish,
Hmm.
kind of, that I think, like, it's not necessarily the characters that they would say we're definitely going to cut them, but I could definitely see them
Hmm.
being lower on the priority scale. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
do we need to have high priority for Roy and Lucina when Marth and Ike and Robin better represent the Fire Emblem franchise themselves?
Hmm.
Like, do is
That's true.
Rosalina or Bowser Jr. going to be super high up on their list? I really don't think so. Young Link and Toon Link, No,
Yeah.
I doubt it. Of the two of them, I think Toon Link has a better shot, just because he's a little bit more different than Young Link is. Well, I wish he had something different for his arrows, but whatever. But Young Link
Mm-hmm.
just being a version of Link from Ocarina of Time, and who knows what form Link himself will be for the next Smash, whether it's Breath of the Wild Link
Mm-hmm.
again, or they'll go back to a more homogenous version. Young
Mm-hmm.
Link, Toon Link, they could kind of interchange there. We already lost Wolf once. We already lost Pichu
Mm-hmm.
once.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas as well. Mewtwo.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely enough, I kind of feel like Little Mac might not be super high up just because, you know, how often does Punch Out get brought up in discussions? Not
Yeah,
much. And
Little
he's not a
Mac
great
was someone
character
who
in the
was
game.
he was met by a lot of hype in the West, but then it fizzled out almost immediately, and especially with Ultimate when it turned out he's like D tier.
Yeah. It's a great
Mm-hmm.
concept for a character. It looks great on paper. You have a character who's super strong on the ground. He's dangerous. You don't want to mess with him. But in the air, he's trash. And if you throw him off the
Mm-hmm.
stage, he's probably screwed. Great
Yeah.
idea on paper, but in game, not a great
Oof.
character. But just because he's not a
No.
great character doesn't mean Sakurai is not going to prioritize him. It's more just a feeling I have.
Yeah, well,
It
Punch Out isn't like a Golden Calf series. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, any of the Echo Fighters and Semi Clones, I feel like they had the potential to be lower on the list as well. But at that same
Mm-hmm.
time, they also have the greatest potential to rise up the list if they are running out of time. But they can add like, okay, we can add one more character or seven Echoes. Welcome back,
Mm-hmm.
Dark Samus. We almost lost you there.
Mm-hmm.
The Mii
Yep.
Fighters can easily be left behind. All the third parties, for any future Smash game, whether we're going from Smash or from Brawl to Smash 4 to Ultimate, Ultimate to the future and beyond, third parties are going to be in danger every time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the nature of licensing. There's just no getting around that.
Yeah.
Greninja and Incineroar, I think, might easily both get dropped as well, especially if we're
Mm-hmm.
doing a hypothetical reboot.
Soft reboot.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, because like okay, they were added because they were the popular starter for the most recent generation, or the generation that was about to release when Sakurai was making the roster. But now that we're doing a reboot, we're cutting it down in half. Do they stay? I mean, they fight unique, but do you need them? Mm,
I never needed Incineroar, so.
the only thing I'll give Incineroar is that at least he has a very unique style to him. Like we don't have any characters that act like wrestlers. Incineroar
Mm-hmm.
takes that idea very strongly, but I feel like any other character could have done that. Could have been
Yeah.
Heihachi, could have been like Starman from
Oh
the
yeah.
old NES Pro
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling game. You could have turned Pico from F Zero into a wrestler. I mean, look at him. He looks like he would be a brawler.
Mm-hmm. I would know. We used to go to school together.
I bet you did.
Yep. Yeah.
That's for the most part most of the characters that I think are in the most danger or that will be lower in priority. There's others that um, whether or not they'll come back or not is a question, but for the most part, that 20 or so list,
Yeah.
I don't know
I
about that.
I agree. Our Me Fighters episode where we are a previous on topic, we discussed prior. Oh, will they come back? Will they won't? And it's really just a flip of a coin whether they want to prioritize them being in for the sake of customization or not. And I'm not going to touch on it too much because they can listen to our other episode for that. Plug. But I will speak to like third parties where absolutely licensing could be a nightmare. I'm sure that they dredge up a lot of fan hype, and that's why they've been driving the Fighters Pass, for instance.
Oh yes.
But at the same time, just working with all these different companies, even Soccer himself has already said this will never happen again. Like this intensity and this broadness to the third party fighter selection. We can certainly have like that huge pool to draw from again, especially because DLC is inevitable and they're probably going to approach it from a similar place that they are now with Ultimate. But just in terms of like prioritization, I would imagine the so-called big three of the third parties, Sonic, Mega Man, Pac-Man, are more than likely going to be fought for and more than likely going to stay there. but then everyone else out of that third party pool are in danger.
Agreed. Like those are
Um,
the only three third parties that I would say have a strong chance of returning. Mega Man,
right.
Sonic, Pac Man. I mean, sure, you could do the next match without any third parties. Absolutely,
Oh
that could
yeah.
happen. Do I think that's
Mhm.
likely? No, no, not at all. Once they started on the third party path, they kind of locked themselves in. But those three are
They
just
did.
like the biggest icons. When we didn't get Mega Man in Brawl, I was shocked.
And
Shocked.
pissed.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I kind of was. But like Snake, we already lost him once.
Hmm.
Cloud, we almost lost. Ryu,
Hmm.
Ken, Terry, Banjo Kazooie would be a hard loss. Can we
It
just
would be.
grandfather him back into the Nintendo just so we don't lose him? That's
Hmm.
my favorite of the new third of the DLC
Oh,
characters to use.
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
love him.
Hmm.
Joker, Hero, the Castlevania boys,
Hmm.
Bayonetta.
Yep. Bayonetta, I mean, it pretty much just is gone with the wind, even though Nintendo is a part ownership.
Mm,
It's just like, how important is she to the overall Nintendo crust? I mean, if Bayonetta 3 is keeping her afloat right now, but will there be a Bayonetta 4 around this time of Smash to really prioritize her over other characters?
yeah.
Especially when she's always just being called out for how easy of a combo hog she is.
Yeah.
And
That
how,
said,
yeah.
last I checked, I believe Bayonetta is being partially funded by Nintendo. If I'm right in that,
Hmm.
and I think if that's the case, I think she does have a higher chance to return than several of the others, just because Nintendo is
That's
putting
true.
a helping hand into her games.
That's true. And I also think that with the fan outcry for Banjo-Kazooie, that would be such a hard cut. They just wouldn't. They would try their best.
Yeah,
And then some other things like Hero being such a huge thing in Japan, you could say, "Oh, that's likely." Castlevania seems like an easy pull to bring back, that sort of thing, but you never know. So I'm just going to be safe about it and say Sonic, Mega Man, Pac-Man are like the only ones with a certainty that I would say would return.
agreed.
Um, how do you feel about Pokemon Trainer?
I was trying to, I was considering that one when I was discussing my own list, but
Hmm.
I'm not really sure where Pokemon Trainer stands. I
Hmm.
want Pokemon Trainer to stay because again, now that Zelda and Sheik don't transform back into each other, Pokemon Trainer is the only character that has that mechanic left to them. If I
Hmm.
was to change Pokemon Trainer though, I might change it to where instead of Squirtle, Ivysaur, Charizard, maybe instead it's Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard, or Charizard, Greninja, and
Decidueye.
Chess or oh yeah, Decidueye. I forgot I wasn't including Incineroar in that list. I was trying to think. Wait, who's the grass starter I could use? We already have
I
Incineroar. I
also
can't say
love
Decidueye. Damn it.
I also love how you, out of all the names to forget about, you were having a loss on Charizard because the Pokemon Company would never let that go.
Yeah, no kidding. God. I mean, Charizard is cool. I'm not denying that,
Mhm.
but can we spread the love a little? Come
Pokemon Let's Go
on.
Charizard Edition, featuring only Charizard in the entire
Charizard's
game.
not even the coolest fire starter. Infernape fans, rise up. But
Hmm.
goddamn.
Yeah, I'm torn on Pokemon Trainer 2. Changes would be welcome, of course, but I don't think, or at least I'd like to think that they're not going to take it out outrightly because having Charizard alone playable in Smash 4, that was kind of a lame duck moment for me.
It was
I was
sad.
like, what?
It was
And then it's
sad.
like, whoa, Rock Smash could just easily win you every freaking 9.9 intensity computer battle. But otherwise, Charizard kind of sucks on his own.
I can't tell you how many
Uh,
times in Smash 4 I tried to use Rock Smash and I
hmm.
got Fire Flare Blitz instead.
Hmm.
It's like, god damn it.
Yeah, yeah. I also think Piranha Plant is very susceptible for a cut for kind of
Yeah,
obvious reasons. Um, and I'm not talking fan outcry either. It's just that it's just an enemy. It's low on the priority list. It has a cool move set. That's all we could ever speak well of it. Um, Sakurai might want to troll us again with another enemy, but this one's probably not going to stick around. I agree on your Toon Link and Young Link assessment. I think probably likelier to be one and not both, just for the sake of branding.
Yeah.
And for the sake of branding, Toon Link is more ubiquitous than Young Link now, so I would say Toon Link stays. Uh, Corrin, I think, is the likeliest of the unique Fire Emblem characters to go because Fates is just not, the future has not been kind to Fates. Like over time, people have really seen it for kind of the ugly duckling of the Fire Emblem series that it is.
Yep.
So just eh.
I'm sure
Um,
give it 5 years and people are going to talk favorably about Fates again. It's like the Pokemon cycle. You hate the new generation, but then the generation before that, well, no, you're hating some. You like the new game, but then the previous generation you're hating on it. The generation before
mhm,
that, you're talking about all of its love and the nostalgia for it. Go forward a generation. Now the generation that you just finished playing, people are hating on. The
mhm.
generation that they were hating on, they're loving. It's the Pokemon cycle. It happens every time. Like
Yeah.
I'm witnessing a lot of Generation 6 love right now. It's just like, but Kalos was empty though. It was void of
Mhm,
life. Why do you love
mhm.
this one? I mean, yeah, 3D and yeah, a whole lot of Pokemon variety. Love that. But hey, we just had Gen 5 where the gym leaders all had a lot of life to them and they were more than just people standing in a box. What happened to the
Mhm.
gym leaders in Gen 6? Oh right, it's cardboard cutouts standing in a box. Fucking Ramos, man. Ugh.
Mhm.
At least
I
Wolfric
also think
looked
that
cool.
yeah, that much is true. Maybe he can be in Smash. Just kidding. What I also think that each of the hardware associated characters can easily be shunned or easily not be.
They're a
Uh,
hard one. Like I considered having Game and Watch and Rob on my list as well as Duck
mhm.
Hunt, but I'm just like, but uh, those would hurt me if they win because that's
Yeah.
not just cutting a character, that's cutting history to me.
Hmm. Oh, We Fit Train is also history. It's just more recent history.
True, true, and I wouldn't
Yeah.
be as upset about Wave of Trainer or Duck Hunt going, but Game and Watch and Rob are
Yeah. Yeah.
icons of Nintendo's history from a
Hmm.
hardware company's perspective. Not just hey, look, there's that popular character from that popular game. No, this is something that they made.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember the shock and awe when Rob was just randomly in Mario Kart DS, and that just kind of kickstarted everything
Yeah,
for revitalizing the character. So yeah, I definitely agree with you that Game and Watch and Rob, especially Game and Watch, are on that upper echelon of the hardware-based characters. Duck Hunt is a little divisive. We Fit Trainer's just kind of there. It's like, eh.
the thing with Wii
Uh,
Fit, unlike the other three, is that yeah, we had three Wii Fit games for some
mhm,
fucking reason. Wii Fit Plus, and Wii Fit U. But
mhm,
after Wii Fit U, there was no attention given to the franchise at all.
mhm.
Nothing. It was just like, yeah, that was a thing we did. And now we've got Ring Fit Adventure, which maybe that's what they'll do. They'll drop Wii Fit Trainer and put in the Ring Fit Trainer. I could see that.
Yeah, who I think
It'd be
her
the
official
next
name is
evolution of
just
the character.
Ring.
Her name is
Yep.
just Ring.
Yep.
Well, it's better than Wii Fit Trainer, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, I agree on Roy too, and all the semi-clones for that matter. And I agree with your assessment of Marthike and Robin. That would be like the dream to me to just cull the Fire Emblem cast back, because as I was explaining before, to Moo and to everyone in our chat room recently, was that I don't think you, I think you and I know that Fire Emblem is a staple of Nintendo's current events now.
Yes.
It is ever since Awakening, it's blown up. I would say that it's fifth, maybe even fourth in line on the importance scale for the long-standing franchises now. Like Metroid is huge, but it's not really around that often.
Which
Star
is in a
Fox is
weird
kind of
place right
gone,
now.
yeah, and Star Fox has kind of gone to the dogs. So it's like Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Kirby, Fire Emblem.
Disagree with the order, but yeah, pretty much.
Pokemon, Mario, Zelda, Kirby, Fire Emblem. There we go.
Yeah, pretty much.
Um, you could say Fire Emblem over Kirby. I'm not sure if Japan has gotten there yet, but more or less, that's the top five.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Mm-hmm.
the problem with Fire Emblem is that, and as people will love to point out to you, they're so samey between them all. We do not need Marth, Roy, Lucina, and Crom. Four characters that all, for the most part, play the same. Yes, there's differences. We know.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, they are all super similar.
Yeah.
You keep Marth, you keep Ike, you keep
Mm-hmm.
Robin, maybe Corin. At least he's unique.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the three that I feel like would be like the big pillars out of the current Fire Emblem cast. It's like, hey, you got your original rep, you got your like your mid season. They came back to it's the GameCube era games. He's currently like he's the most popular Fire Emblem character according to the Choose Your Legends poll from the first Fire Emblem Heroes season.
And our own personal Fire Emblem poll amongst friends.
We did do that, and I
Mm-hmm.
defeated Edelgard in a vote of 5-2, I believe. Yes, we know we're
Five
it's,
to
it's
three.
5-3. That's right. Yes, it's a small group
Yeah.
of friends, but we still had that poll.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Robin, who is sort of like the symbol of the reemergence of Fire Emblem after it fell to obscurity again after Ike's games, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
odd considering how popular Ike himself is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they didn't try doing remakes of Marth games in between there. But they can still add more Fire Emblem. It's just don't make them be another Marth.
Exactly. Um, they could have even been seven sword fighters that all just fought differently, but now we've kind of dug ourselves a hole there, and now we have to really encounter the full embrace of the uniqueness of Fire Emblem system, where we have the potential for characters like Tiki being upgraded from a Sis trophy and being a Manakete. We have someone like Anna who could be a jack of all trades, uh, using all manner of weapons from the merchant's booth or anything like that. We have Ephraim or Ephraim, apparently is that's how that's pronounced. I learned recently, uh, to use a lance. People like Hector, Edelgard, or Dimitri use a lance too. Three
All
houses is
three
kind
of
of all over the place. Yeah.
pretty much the four main characters of Three Houses would all fit very well into Smash. They really would.
Hmm.
Which one to choose? That's a topic for another day. But any of them
Yeah,
would
for like
fit
a
well.
future Smasher Dash
Yes.
sometime soon, I think. Keep an eye out for that. Uh, and also Raphael could be playable for all you know, because he can eat food on stage to become invincible. And
he
he can
will,
chuck wood around because he's really big, and he can pop his buttons out off of his shirt and just knock people out.
and he'll ask you if you can help him find his big spoon.
Mm-hmm. And he'll say, "You are my big spoon, buddy."
The fact that that's one of his lost items that you can find in the game, my god. I laughed when I found that one. I was like, oh, hey, Raphael lost a big spoon.
Mm-hmm.
You lost
Yep.
yourself? What? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
Raphael.
Good times. Uh,
Lame
yeah.
character, but funny.
Yeah. Well, at least he's got that going for him. That's better than some.
And he's better than Ignatz.
um, not going to comment on that since some of our friends won the Ignots in their personality poll. But I think we've kind of covered cuts a lot. I mean, Jigglypuff. We talked about that at the start of the conversation. It could happen. It could not. I think that there's a certain precedence for grandfathering in the characters from the beginning,
Yeah,
like the very beginning. Now, I don't think it would happen. It's just that if any veteran from that far ago were to be cut, it would be Jigglypuff.
absolutely.
Yeah, but other than that, I think we can more so move on to what, unless you contest, what characters more so, like what other characters do we think could be in a future Smash? Like, what do you want in the next game, or what do you think will happen in the next game?
So, leading up to this, I created a list of 12 characters that it's a bit of a mix of what I think could happen and what I personally want to see happen. That there's no way that you
Mm-hmm.
can ever take personal one out of these discussions. That's just not possible. And I also
Mm-hmm.
came up with 6 new Echo Fighters that we could maybe see, which was
Nice.
difficult because there were some I really wanted to have on my list, but I was just like, but I only have 6 spots. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't make it.
Yep.
Sad day.
Yep.
But for starting off with my 12 new characters that I want to go through, first of all, anyone that knows me, you know I'm championing. I want Gino in the game. I want him. Yes,
Yep.
I know his game was in the 90s, and it was uh, just on the SNES, and there's never been a reboot of it, or not reboot. Like there's never been a re-release, unless you count like Virtual Console and such. And
Hmm.
he's got is he a Mario character? Is he a third party character? What's the deal here? Nobody knows really the exact specifics. We assume that Square has partial ownership of him, and I think that's a pretty safe bet. Well, we don't know, but goddamn it, I want Gino, and I don't care. If I have to cut half the cast just to get Gino, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Oh yeah.
I'd like we just got King K. Rool for Ultimate, which thank God
Oh
he's been
man.
one of the ones that we really needed here.
I bet that you still remember my reaction to the King K. Rool trailer in Facebook Messenger.
I mean, it was a damn good trailer.
Oh
But
yeah.
even at the fact that we just got K. Rool, I feel like there's one more Donkey Kong character that we're really missing and that we really need. Do they
Chunky.
have to be in this next game? No, but if they're not at least in the game after that, there's something wrong going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Dixie Kong,
Oh yeah.
we need her. I would
Mm-hmm.
love to have Cranky Kong in as well at some point down the line, but we need Dixie. Come on, please
If
just give us
Dixie
Dixie
gets in the
Kong.
game, I think that we would have our first fourth party soundtrack inclusion with Willow Smith's I Whip My Hair Back and Forth.
Who?
I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth. And that's
I
pretty
don't
much the
even
song.
have enough hair.
Ah, we'll visit the webcam after this
Yeah,
and
we
you'll
won't.
see.
Continuing on, you'll notice that a lot of my characters are like, "Hey, this franchise kind of needs another character here," such
Mm-hmm.
as Earthbound. Hey, we got Ness.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Lucas. We don't have Ninten. Oh,
Yeah.
Ninten's not on my list. Sorry, if you thought I was going to go that direction. No, I'm going with Porky. Who we just talked about in our last Smashtopia
Yep.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because not only do we only have two Earthbound characters, but we're also missing just villains in general in Smash. And I think Porky would be a great choice. Like he'd be a very unique fighter, as we noted in that episode of Super Cast Brothers. But I've been on the Porky train really since Smash Four. I feel like that's probably about when I started supporting Porky. It was like, hey,
Yeah.
we kind of need more characters for this franchise. I feel like not every franchise needs a lot of characters, like I feel like F Zero, as much as I want to see a second character coming from that franchise, it really is represented perfectly by just Captain Falcon. It really
Yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Kirby needs a fourth character. Absolutely. A lot of people say Bandanity. Bandanity bores the shit out of me. I do not care about Bandanity. If he gets in, will
Mm-hmm.
I be upset about it? Yeah, there's bigger problems in the world. But I
Mm-hmm.
want Marks. People say
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh, but why have Marks? He's just Magalore, but older." It's like, okay, yeah, they both have very similar
Marx
character
is way
arcs,
cooler
and
than
so does
Megalore.
Susie. But here's the thing about Marks: he's fucking awesome. Look at the
Mm-hmm.
little guy. He's a little jester that bounces on a ball, and he'd be rolling around on the ball as he moves. He's got a demonic, winged form. Marks is cool, and he would fight in a very cool way. And I'd loved coming up
Ah.
with a move set for him before. I really want the character. If we
Yeah.
get somebody else, that's fine. Just give us a fourth character from
That's
Kirby,
on our
please.
Smashtopia wiki, by the way, if you wanted to look into it.
It is. It absolutely is.
Yep.
His moveset is
Marx
more
by
or less
Zantok.
just taken right out of Kirby Star Allies because that game kind of just gives you all kinds of good material.
Yep.
It really does.
Yep. Yep.
You know another franchise that needs another character that's been stagnant since, let's say, Melee? Zelda?
Enlighten me. Oh
I
yeah.
mean, yeah,
Yep.
we got two Link in Brawl. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we also lost Young Link, so do we really get a new character?
And really, they
Eh.
can try harder
Yeah.
than just
There's
Links and Zeldas all over.
there's several good characters that we could get from Zelda. We could get Tetra, Skull Kid, Midna, even Linkle. But I decided to go
Mm-hmm.
with Ganon. We talked about him recently in
Oof.
Smash or
Yes.
Dash, and I feel like Ganon would just be really awesome. Be another heavy character. Ganondorf would be treated more like he would be altered in this hypothetical universe, and then Ganon can take some more of his heavy hitting melee strikes with the trident.
Hmm. Also on the Smashtopia wiki, if you want to look into that.
Yes, he is. That's one that we both
Hmm.
collaborated on.
Yep, that was a lot of fun.
It was.
Oh man,
I've
good
also
old
got on
Ganon.
here Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles
Oof.
2. This is
Yep.
a character, at least we assume it'd be in this kind of form, but we know Sakurai loves Xenoblade Chronicles 2. He loved Rex, and he even said that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had released just a little bit too late after he had finished putting together the roster for Special Ultimate. Otherwise, we would have
Hmm.
gotten Rex. He has said that. That's why we have a Mii costume of Rex in the game that was added in like the day one patch, because it was sort of like
Yeah.
an apology from Sakurai saying, "I'm sorry, I finished the roster before this game came out, and I knew how awesome this character was, but here, have a Mii costume. It's the best I could do for now."
Hmm.
If we do not get a new Xenoblade game that is popular before the next Smash happens, we're getting Rex. It's
Oh
happening.
yeah.
If
Hmm.
we get a new Xenoblade and it's also extremely popular and there's a great new character choice for it, we might not get Rex. We might get whoever the new guy is.
Hmm.
But as things stand right now, Rex is coming in the next Smash. That's a guarantee. I don't like to
Yep.
give out too many guarantees on characters like that, but I gave out a guarantee on Inkling. That was the easiest call anybody could have made for Ultimates. Everybody
Hmm.
knew we were going to get Inkling. As soon as
Hmm.
Splatoon released, we all knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Some people thought we were going to get an ARMS character. I'm just like, idiots.
Hell no.
That was never going to happen. ARMS was too
Hmm.
new. Too new. People thought we were going to
And
get
now
Rex.
Arms just kind of sucks. So.
Yeah. That's the problem with adding a character from a new IP before that game has had a chance to blossom. Is you don't know if it's gonna do well or not. Inkling did well
Hmm.
immediately with Splatoon. Arms
Oh yeah.
Arms fell apart.
Hmm.
But moving forward here, my seventh slot I don't have that actual character written down because it's hard to pick one, and that's a character from Fire Emblem Three Houses. There's four good options. We could get Byleth, we could get Edelgard, we could get Dimitri, or we could get Claude. Which one is
Hmm.
a hard thing to say. I do have my own personal leaning, but I'm going to save that discussion for for an upcoming Smash or Dash episode where we do discuss which Fire Emblem Three Houses character we would put into Smash, and that's whoever
Hmm.
character that is. They're probably going to take the number seven slot on my list here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Fire
Agreed.
Emblem Three Houses, I feel like is in the same area as Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade Chronicles Two is. If we don't get a new Fire Emblem game that's very popular before the next Smash happens, we are getting a Three Houses rep. If we get a
Oh
new
yeah.
Fire Emblem before then that's very popular, we might not get a Three Houses rep. They might get looked over. It's like
Hmm.
Pokemon franchise. We never got a Generation 3 fighter. We never got a Generation 5 character. We got Gen
Pokemon.
4 instead because it was newer, and we got Gen 6 instead of Gen 5 because it was in the process of being made.
Hmm.
Sometimes the new popular thing gets skipped because another new popular thing happens immediately after it, which is
Oh yeah.
unfortunate.
Hmm.
Um, next one I got on here, this is where we start to get into the less likely territory of characters. Everything else, from 1 through 7, I think I'll have a shot. Eight through
Oh yeah.
12, it's a little bit more murky here. But can we throw a bone for the Golden Sun fans, please?
Oh yeah.
Can
Yes.
we throw them a fucking bone? I mean, yeah, Isaac is cooler as an assist trophy this time around than he was in Brawl, but
By far.
just make
Yep.
him playable. He's got some really cool potential. It's another character that I've made a move set for on Smashtopia.
Hmm.
He's got some cool tools. He can do more than move a giant spectral hand.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Hmm.
Speaking
Agreed.
another character that I've made a move set for is Goku. Not that Goku.
I know where this is going.
Yes,
Yep.
you do. This is I'm a big fan of talking about retro character reps for Smash. We got Game and Watch and Ice Climbers in Melee. We had Rob and Brawl. We had
Duck Hunt.
I
Little
was
Mac.
Duck Hunt. Okay, well, I don't know if that would count Little Mac. I don't remember if there's a second
Oh
one
yeah,
that
that's
we
right.
got for Smash 4 or not, or for Brawl. And then we didn't really get one in Ultimate. unless you want to count the Belmonts. But I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of discussion about like the third. Oh, um, did I say Robin Roll? I don't remember, but Robin Roll.
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of discussion like the retro characters that are from like the NES, the SNES period, or older. And the
Yeah.
new one that I kind of like am a big fan of including is Goku from. He was really a text adventure game, Yu Yuki, which is more or
Hmm.
less Nintendo's version of the classic story of Journey to the West. So
Yeah.
he's the Monkey King. He's got the staff. He's got the little cloud that he can ride around on.
Born
God, it
from
would be
an
funny as
egg
hell. And
on
also,
a
can you
mountain
imagine
top.
the Dragon Ball fans' outrage when
Hmm.
Goku gets added, but it's not their Goku? Oh my God!
I can
Please.
hear Eric seething now.
Oh, I would just love it. I would just love it.
Yep. Yep. Then
Um,
they'll be like, oh, at least Naruto has his chance still.
no, never fucking happening. I want another Wario rep. I really do. A lot of people say Ashley because she's popular. She's a witch. She's another
Yeah.
female character. Which yes, we do have a small amount of female characters. But I
Hmm.
want 9 Volt. 9 Volt's a really cool character. He's a big fan of again retro Nintendo games, and his moveset could be involving like summoning out a 2D pixel or like an 8-bit version of Mario or a 16-bit of Simon Belmont or not Simon Belmont, but like Ryu Hayabusa and have them do an attack. He could pull out an N64 controller, swing it above his head, and just throw it forward like a damn lasso and pull an opponent in
Oh
closer to
yeah.
him. He's you could do
Hmm.
some real crazy cool shit with 9 Volt. You could do some real crazy cool shit with Ashley too, but I want 9 Volt just personally, you know.
Oh yeah.
What about a third party
Totally
pick?
all-encompassing retro rep. Okay.
There's a lot to choose from, and I had a difficulty picking who I wanted for this slot. I only wanted to
Hmm.
include one third party in a list of 12 here, and I had to go with Phoenix Wright. It's possible he could be
Nice.
added to Smash Ultimate. He
Hmm.
has a good chance, and if he is, then I'll just have to mentally replace Phoenix Wright on here with somebody else, like I don't know, Master
Babyhead.
Chief, Dragonborn, Lara Croft, Lloyd or Yuri from the Tales series, Steve from Minecraft, maybe. But as of
Hmm.
right now, if I had to pick my a third party character just out of all of those, I want Phoenix Wright. Love the games. He'd be funny as hell.
Oh yeah.
Please make him better than Marvel's Capcom 3 Infinite did. Not Infinite,
Hmm.
Ultimate.
Yep. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
can we do better than Ultimate did? Uh, my final
What
slot for
about
my 12
Apollo?
characters.
He'll be in, right? Just kidding.
Honestly, I did consider including an Echo Fighter, a Phoenix Wright in my list of 6. But even if I did, it would not have been Apollo. It would have been Miles Edgeworth.
Oh yeah.
It can only be Miles Edgeworth. Nobody else.
Oh, I was gonna make it Larry.
Oh, fuck Larry. I don't like him. But there's a pretty big franchise that always gets a playable rep that I haven't discussed yet.
Aha.
Who's my Pokemon?
Pokemon. Yep.
There's over 900 to choose from. Who
Hmm.
the hell did I pick?
Psyduck.
No.
Oh. Okay.
I had a short list of 44 options, which I
Hmm.
then cut down to 15, and then I cut down to a top 5 before I
Nice.
finally picked the one that I was going to go for.
Got it.
Um, just to mention real quick the ones that I ended up not choosing, but considered to the end, which this is going to be more than what my top 5 was, but whatever.
Hmm.
Zacian, one of the 2 legendaries from Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Hmm.
Rillaboom, the grass starter from Sword and Shield. Gardevoir from Generation 3.
A fan
Zygarde,
favorite.
yeah, Zygarde from Gen 6, who I have really cool ideas for. It just would be very
Hmm.
difficult to think about. Um, Another character we've done a Smashtopia article on, or not article, episode of. Actually, no, I think his
Hmm.
article is up as well. Gengar. I thought
Oh yeah.
real hard about including Gengar. I was very close to doing it, but I was just like, you know what? Let's pick something that's not from Generation 1.
Yeah.
But I picked, it's a very surprising choice that you would have never guessed me choose. And that's part of why I chose him.
Inteleon.
My Pokemon rep is Rotom.
Oof. What?
Uh huh. Yeah.
Explain yourself, demon.
Oh, I will. So Rotom is an electric ghost type Pokemon, and in Smash, I'm kind of envisioning it would be somewhere between the size of Bowser Jr.'s Clown Car and Jigglypuff. So somewhere in that range here. He floats a little bit off the ground, and when he's running around, jumping, or like doing some basic A combos, he looks like his normal Rotom self. But then in Pokemon Platinum, we learn that there are more types of Rotoms, or more accurately, that Rotom can possess certain types of
Hmm.
appliances. There's Rotom Frost, where he becomes a refrigerator. Rotom Fan, where he's a fan. Rotom Mow, the
Hmm.
lawnmower. Rotom Heat, the stove. Rotom Wash, the washing machine.
Oh my god.
And
Yep.
it started out with Rotom. You had to go to certain places where these items are. Take your Rotom there, interact with one of them. Now your Rotom is possessing the item, and he gets a change in type. So like Rotom Frost is electric ice. He's no longer a ghost type, which is interesting.
Hmm.
Generation 6 gave us a Rotom that possessed our Pokedex. And it was an annoying little shithead. But it was our
Oh
Pokedex,
yeah.
it had our map in it, and a lot of other stuff. And it would even talk to
Hmm.
us. Not Generation 6, I'm sorry, Generation 7. My bad
Yeah.
there. The Alola region. And then in Generation 8, the newest Pokemon game, Sun and. Wow. Sun and Moon, really? Sword and Shield. Generation 8 Sword and Shield, we get Rotom possessing a cell phone.
Hmm.
It's again, it holds our Pokedex. It can do a whole bunch of other stuff too. It's a lot less annoying than the one in Alola was. Good lord! But we also there's an NPC in the game that can give you a new key item called the Rotom Catalog, which allows you to just from the menu choose what form you want your Rotom to be. So it's a lot more on the fly.
Hmm.
So what if in Smash you're playing as Rotom and you start to do your dash attack, and Rotom instantly changes into its Rotom Mow form and just starts charging forward, biting at the feet of whoever's in front of it.
Hmm.
What if you're
Oh
doing
man.
a back aerial attack as Rotom, and you change really quick into Rotom Frost form, the doors of the refrigerator open and a blast of cold air comes out?
I love it. Yep.
What if you use Rotom's down special and he turns into Rotom Heat and you use the move Overheat just send out a blast of fire around him?
Hmm.
This is the utility of adding Rotom to Smash. People want
Oh
Eevee.
baby Jones.
People want to see Eevee be added so that Eevee can change into its different evolutions for its attacks, but that doesn't make sense. A Pokemon can't
Hmm.
evolve and then devolve. That's Digimon.
Hmm.
But Rotom can take that concept and actually make it work because he's not evolving. He's changing
Hmm.
form. And it's 5 different forms all with a different element. And there's a lot you can do there. And my god, I've been wanting
Absolutely.
to make a moveset for Rotom for over a year. I just haven't actually
Hmm.
gotten to it because it's not an easy one to do. But I think Rotom would be a very cool character to add to Smash.
Agreed. Agreed.
And that's my
What are
12.
we on to? Nice. I lost count. I was just like, what? Okay.
That was my whole list of 12 characters, not including my echoes. But I think you also have a list of characters that you came up with.
Oh yeah, of course I do. Number one, to kind of convene with the obvious here, like you did with Gino, is another friend of the purplish, bluish adjacent Mario world region. And that is who we did our first Smashtopia episode on, Waluigi.
Yes.
No huge surprise there. And another assist trophy upgrade like Isaac, and very deserving at this point. The fan base reaction with all the memes turning off Sakurai, I understand that. But at the end of the day, Waluigi's non-existence from the franchise, I think we finally hit that point where if it does not happen with the next game, we're going to start being like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah. I really wanted
Um,
to include Waluigi on my list, but I just did not have enough slots.
yeah, and I figured there's a lot of going around too where we probably both figured, oh yeah, this Jonno or Zantok will probably put this on their list anyway.
Fair.
Um, which is why I made like this smorgasbord of characters, and as you were going through yours, I just started crossing off the names of ideas that I
Nice.
had as you were going through it.
Nice. Very nice.
Yep, yep. Secondly, I want to approach Zelda really quickly too, because I agree with you. While Ultimate did a great job, and we've visited this topic in previous episodes too, of revitalizing the current Zelda cast, we can go further and actually include other one-off characters. Because if we can have Sheik, what the hell?
Damn right.
So Ganon, you included. So I crossed Ganon off my list, and there's so many good options for Zelda. Impa would be solid. Midna would be solid. Tetra would be solid. Ravio would be solid. Linkle would be solid. There is a lot to choose from. I just went with Skull Kid. It's kind of the conventional choice at this point, and another assist trophy upgrade. Horrible, horrible, terrible. I hate it. His assist trophy in Ultimate. Good lord.
It's bad.
Yeah,
Uh, in
disturbingly so.
and on that topic, we have Skull Kid as an assist trophy and the Moon as its own separate assist trophy. Why
Hmm.
couldn't those two have just been merged together? Just have Skull Kid summon the fucking
Yeah,
moon. Come
yeah. When we saw
on.
the moon in that in one of those initial trailers, and everybody's like, "Oh, Skull Kid must be playable," it's like, "Oh, never mind."
Yep, yep. That definitely. That was
That was awesome.
that was the thing that happened.
Yep. So we've done Mario and Zelda. Number three, get the big three out of the way. I went ahead for my Pokemon and just chose Rillaboom.
Okay.
I understand that there's an approach that we're probably not going to know more about until we see like the anime, and how they handle the animation of Rillaboom in that format. Where because right now it's a little cumbersome to imagine Rillaboom carrying that lumbering drum around with it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, a kind of musically based grass type starter that's just in my dream territory. So why not? And then Cinderace is a little too samey. Inteleon would be cool, but I'm just kind of assuming Greninja's there.
Yeah. Fair.
So
Fair.
to just completing the grass trio, a common dream amongst Smashites. So just toss it out there. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. On the subject of Rillaboom too, the way that I kind of rationalized it so to myself to not include him was
Hmm.
in this theoretical. Who knows if we're going to have Greninja or Incineroar or even Charizard? So we don't necessarily need to complete the starter triangle, but also
Hmm.
he's kind of just a green Donkey Kong with a drum. And that really kind of disappointed me when I landed on that in my thought process. It was just like, oh well, I mean, I guess in that case I can pick someone else. It's like it's just Donkey Kong with the drum, which we've already seen. Donkey Kong,
Yeah, I
everyone. Now starting
can't decide if
Rillaboom.
that would be cannot decide if that would be more or less cool than funky, or if we just get all three in.
Jesus.
uh, yeah, but whatever. Gengar was really close. Maybe I should have gone Gengar, but whatever. We've plugged our episodes enough. You can check out the Gengar episode though if you want. That was a really good one.
It was.
uh, for Kirby, number four, coming in hot with something you wouldn't necessarily expect me to choose off the top, the Dreamland Trio from Star Allies. I know that you and I have spoken about it previously, having Rick, Con, and Ku appear in a trio moveset, kind of approaching it in that angle of the Eevee thing. I imagine they would all be trailing behind one another, but they take precedent for certain attacks in the standard form and the special form. The difficulty would be hashing it out, deciding which of the three characters gets which attacks
Yeah.
or which functions. But they're also three mainstays of the Kirby franchise and fan favorites. So if we're going for the non-bandana D option, and we've already covered Marks, I think that would be a fun, unexpected, but celebrated approach to it. So I would that people would not expect, but they would warm up to. And if you wanted to go a step further, you can have it be the Dreamland Quartet and toss Gooey in there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and Gooey would obviously be good for grabs and stuff, and maybe wall clinging.
Ooh. Yes.
Yep, yep. But we can revisit that with that promised Smashtopia episode with Jake someday. Someday. Uh, let's see. For my fifth slot, I chose Fire Emblem was really difficult to go through. I knew you were probably going to do Three Houses, but because of my trepidation of saying, you know, I have my preference too, but we don't know we haven't decided how we're gonna approach this until the Smasher Dash episode. So I wanted to backpedal on that conversation until later. So I went with Anna, who is a common favorite of mine when we're discussing Fire Emblem inclusions in Smash. And I think if we're really approaching it from that angle of, yeah, we're going to cull the roster back to just Marth, Ike, and Robin, then we can absolutely have Three Houses character and then a more general character who is more of an icon to the overall series. And in that case, uh, who has a better appearance rate than Anna?
No one.
Uh,
She's only not been in two of the
exactly.
games.
Yeah, exactly. So I just imagine you can take the cheeky merchant form and really go off of that hard and have her, yeah, attack with her knife, but also bring in all manner of different weapons from her um, stall essentially on the fly from the convoy, and have this big bag on maybe present as a knapsack that she's carrying around with her, and she can rustle out or not, and she can rustle out a bow, an arrow, rustle out an axe and lance. Uh, Mines, all sorts of items. Pretty much anything would be her oyster. It would kind of be like a
I I
almost a
just
taskmastery move set.
I just had an idea for how one could make an Anna moveset. Granted, this is only
Uh
just
huh.
like a concept that would involve one of these special moves.
Mm-hmm.
But what if, let's say, by default, Anna is carrying a dagger? That's like
Mm-hmm.
her default weapon as a thief type fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But we take from Robin the idea that, with Robin, his tomes and 11 sword can't degrade, they can break, and he can't use them for a while. Well, with Anna,
Yeah.
all her weapons have that same thing. So after she loses her knife, you have to use a new special move to replace that knife with, let's say, with an axe, sword, lance, bow and arrow, something like that. And now she's got that weapon for a while until it breaks. And you could swap them out before, like whenever you want as you're playing, but the amount of uses it has left is still there. So sure,
Mm-hmm.
you could swap out the axe when it's about to break, but if you go back to the axe, it's about to break, and they'll
I
regenerate
like
after a
it.
while, and you'll be able to use them again. But and
Mm-hmm.
this wouldn't affect her. This I don't know about her other special moves, but this could completely change all of her regular A attacks, her smash attacks, her aerials, her normal A combo, dash attack, all that stuff, just based on what weapon she has. That gives her a shit ton of utility.
Ooh, yeah.
I am
Wow.
excited.
Wow. That you just unlocked a whole new world of pleasure.
I've
So
been
thank
trying to
you.
think for a while now of how Anna could work, and
There
you
you go. It
mentioning
just
rustling
kind of
around in
appeared.
her bag for something, I was like, holy shit, what if she did?
Mm-hmm.
This is why we made this podcast, everyone. Moments like
Yep.
this.
Yep. Some people wait a lifetime for a moment like this, but we just wait for a podcast episode to record.
True.
Um, nice. So transitioning from fighter number 5 to fighter number 6 here, I'm going to approach the Wario series from an angle a little different from where, and I Ashley is a great choice too, but I didn't want to be too obvious with the whole assist trophy gamut again. So I'm just going to go and toss Captain Syrup out there to represent the land portion of the franchise that has unfortunately been more forgotten recently. And an idea that people have been lobbing around that I'm not quite sure. It's not necessarily purist in this sense, but it would be a good way to represent the land series. Would be
Mm-hmm.
to have Captain Syrup take over Wario's different abilities that he gets from being attacked by enemies in the
Ah,
land games.
okay.
So you can have her get puffy cheeks to float up into the air, have her catch on fire and spontaneously combust, all sorts of abuse. Uh, and the shoulder charge, of course, could be a part of her moveset, having standard pirate things like from her boss battle, throwing bombs, attacking people with her saber, of course. And she can bring in her minions from various games in the series too. So I think that would be some good fun. Not much more to comment on there. Unfortunately, I didn't really put too much foremost research into her character, and it's been a long time since I played land games. But I wanted to toss it a bone. Um, okay, now we're gonna go and move on to 7. No surprise here, I don't think. Marshall,
Oh yeah.
who we talked about in Smash or Dash before as well. Rhythm Heaven, a rhythmic game and a consistent staple in Nintendo's lesser catalog of games that still manages to keep carrying on and being a consistent franchise people can rely on for that type of gameplay if they're into it. Uh, I just think he's more of a face of the series than Chorus Kids. I think Chorus Kids, like some other characters, have only been popularized by the community because they've been previously, supposedly previously thought of by Sakurai.
The old
But
Gamatsu leak.
yep, exactly. But Marshall would be easier to implement in my eyes, and I don't know. I like
He's
Marshall.
more
What
symbolic
are
of
you
the
gonna do?
franchise as a whole compared to the
Agreed.
Wrestling Reporter, Karate Joe, the Chorus Kids,
Hmm.
Ribbon.
Yeah, yeah. And to that end, I do have another. I do have a retro rep in mind myself. And I was almost leaning Starman, and you mentioned him earlier, and I was like, oh my god. For number 8, we're just gonna revisit Mock Rider from our first Smasher Dash, the winner by a thread with our tiebreaker vote. We've spoken that episode at length about how we could diversify a Mock Rider moveset, and kind of just pulled it on the fly like we did, like Lister just did with talking about Anna a few pegs ago. So check out that episode if you want to really get a better idea for Mock Rider. But for the sake of time, I'm just saying Mock Rider's cool. I like Mock Rider. There's other choices out there. I was almost leaning Starman, and then you go ahead and mention him.
You
So
sort of
that
said
was
Starman. He wasn't
interesting.
on my
Yeah,
list.
but no, but Mock Rider, I like Mock Rider, and I think Mock Rider may realistically stand more of a chance. And then there's just that little bit of a saltiness towards a certain green haired, anti Santa like character that mentioned Mock Rider in the past, and then we didn't get Mock Rider.
Oh,
So,
right.
mhm. Number 9, I jumped back and forth on this a lot. Almost chose Labo Man, but the reason why I didn't is because Labos kind of fell to the wayside. Walmart just sold a ton of Labo kits that were originally selling for 70, $80 for like $8 a pop during Black
Ooh.
Friday. So although Labo Man's pretty cool and it can still happen, it's kind of like having a playable Virtual Boy at this point. Nintendo sold cardboard and they kind of lost out on that. And I'm considering they're probably going to shove that under the bed and pretend it never happened. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go for a tried and true friend of mine. And because Adeline is not, he has the floor cleared. Hello, Vince. We missed you dearly. We love that you're an assist trophy in Smash Ultimate, even though the assist trophy is kind of sucky. And having a move set based around paint and art and all sorts of media platforms like that would be great.
It
And it's
really
another
would.
way to represent a series, a lesser known series from Nintendo that is more of a cult favorite that's still ongoing, just like with Marshall. So, yes, please. Number 10 is where things are probably going to get a little bit weird for some people, but you wouldn't be
It's not
surprised.
weird already?
Eh, maybe. I feel
Vince?
it's pretty even keel for me at least, so you won't be surprised, but other people might.
Okay.
Um,
Vince.
number 10, Yuri Kozukata, another
Ah.
assist trophy upgrade, but we spoke about it previously using her camera from the Fatal Frame series to unleash various ghosts from the franchise onto opponents and that sort of thing. I think that having a summoning based character, it's always a fight over, okay, this would be a nice archetype to introduce to Smash, but who should do the introduction? Uh, so it's difficult and it's hard to say that a cult franchise like Fatal Frame should necessarily do it, but I think it would really work for her character, and it would be a really cool, uh, edgy way to veer into the franchise further. Is to bring Nintendo's character from when they picked up Fatal Frame into the game
So Nintendo does own
as
Fatal
it goes
Frame
on.
then.
Yeah, or at least they have a large. I think it might be a situation like Bayonetta, which may be more of a reason why Yuri could take precedence too.
Gotcha. Okay. I wasn't really too
Yeah.
clear on that because I thought they were Nintendo at first, but then I was looking into things like, well, no, it's made by this other company.
Hmm.
It wasn't really clear to me.
Gray area for Serb, but the one thing that we can be certain on is that Nintendo holds some sort of special precedence with the franchise ongoing from Fatal Frame 4.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I think so. Using the camera obscura in that sense, I think that would be pretty cool. And there you go. There you go. Number 11. I was considering quite a few characters for this spot, but ultimately I settled on the Avatar character from RuneScape. And the reason why is RuneScape was great. And you can have it be the Barbarian Fort or Lumbridge or Varrock, or all of it. It could be a RuneScape tour, and it would be the original RuneScape, not this rehash that they've created for the sake of change.
Now, when you say the original RuneScape, which original
Okay, not the
RuneScape do you mean?
originalist RuneScape. I mean like 2003, 4, 5 era RuneScape.
Okay, okay. That would
And
be the
also,
era
no,
that
I
I
was
played.
lying. Yeah, me too. That's not going to happen. It will never happen.
So,
And I don't want it to happen. But it would be cool. But no, it's not on my list.
okay. At some point, I feel
Yep.
like I need to check out and see what they've done to RuneScape now, because I used to play it back in the
Hmm.
high school days.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I didn't do
Hmm.
much. I smelted and I smithed, but I didn't
Hmm.
really like going out to fight all the monsters. A very surprising pick, though. I did not expect to hear RuneScape come out of your mouth. And okay, now I get it. Okay, sure, these are definitely stranger than vents.
Hmm. No, that's because it was a bit. And then you're kind of like, oh, RuneScape. And I was like, what? But I
What?
was joking.
God
I
damn it.
was,
Fucking hate you.
I said it while you were talking too.
This is also why we started this podcast, because it gives him more reasons to fuck with me.
Yeah. Okay, here's a weird one for you, though. The Knight from Hollow Knight.
Okay, okay.
That's what I was actually going to go for. I think it's high time that we get an indie rep in Smash. It doesn't necessarily ever need to happen, but there's a certain upper echelon of characters that we can pull from. Shovel Knight and Shantae being the most obvious and the most abundantly clear that they're a little more ahead of the pack. Uh, I just kind of chose the Knight to be contrarian in that sense, but I also honestly think that Hollow Knight is moving up in those ranks as well.
I think he'd translate very
Um,
well.
oh, absolutely, and it comes from that playing format, the Metroidvania escape. Just a really cool game. I'm so excited for the future installments as well. Um, yeah, there's a lot more I could say on it, but I think we're over an hour into the podcast already, so I'm not going to.
Oh, we're well over.
I bet. But I love everything about the Knight. If there's one thing I would change for Smash, it's the Knight's name just being the Knight. But then again, we have Hero, so who cares?
I mean,
So there we
I'm
go.
personally hoping that the new Silk Song gives the name to the knight, but come on.
Maybe.
When you name your game Hollow Knight and your main character is a knight, but your boss is actually the thing that's Hollow Knight, and everybody calls the main character Hollow Knight, like you screwed up somewhere.
Yeah,
Like either give him a
that
name or
is
change the title.
that's fair. And Hornet would be pretty cool in Smash 2, but I just think that, it's taking the main character from the franchise as always. It's like having a Luigi without a Mario.
Right.
So the Knight is my number 11. And for my number 12, uh, I was going to say Biomiracle Bokuteupa to screw with you, but we already had that extended RuneScape piece, so I'm going to withhold myself.
Jesus. Just move on.
It's just, well, as you say, Phoenix, I say, Amaterasu wa kono game ni iru hazu desu.
Yeah, that was probably the most predictable one that you could have said.
Yep. And really, I think Phoenix and Amaterasu are on similar playing fields. Phoenix takes more precedence on Nintendo consoles. Cannot deny that. Very fun character to play as from a great series of games that would bring something unique to the franchise, representing the text-based mystery title like that. Good times. Uh, cannot say he's a bad pick at all. I would love it if Phoenix were in. Amaterasu is just from a great game that is among my very favorites, if not my favorite title. So that's the bias coming from there. But also, she's just somehow a very popular character, even though she's only been playable in one game. Uh, in the Okami franchise, and Okami as a franchise has only lasted two installments so far, unless you count all the remasters.
Only one installment, unless you count Alchemiden.
Yep, yep, not a
Yay!
bad game. Just kind of not how you would want to approach a sequel.
No, not at all.
Um, but at the end of the day, she has so much potential to draw from. I think more than Marvel vs. Capcom, and the more rigid style could have given her. Even though her moveset was pretty good there too. So I would be patently excited for her inclusion, and I think that she's probably about as realistic a guess, maybe more or less than Phoenix. So it's just like there you go.
Overall, I don't think anybody can really disagree with this list of 24. Beyond maybe an argument
Nope.
well, I'd rather this character than that character, which, fair. I would rather Marks over Bandanity, but more people want Bandanity, so it's like, it's whatever. But it's a
Hmm.
very solid list of 24 characters.
Yep.
A
Yeah.
couple odd additions,
Hmm.
but for the most part, a pretty solid list.
Agreed.
Um, do you also have a list of Echo Fighters prepared here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to go through mine a little bit more rapid fire because there's really not much to say on them. I
Hmm.
had several that was like, oh man, I'd really love to do them, but in reality, my list of six, there's really not going to be any surprises here, at least not between you and I. So some other people
Got
out there listening might be going, oh wow, that person is an echo. Oh, okay. But it's,
it.
as far as I'm aware, these are a pretty standard set of six. First of all, Alf being an Echo Fighter of Olimar, how the hell did that not already happen? It's the
Hmm.
only costume character from Smash 4 that wasn't turned into a clone, alongside Dr. Mario, Dark Pit, and Lucina. And then in
Hmm.
Ultimate, they had the opportunity again, make him an Echo. He's still just a costume of Alf, or of Olimar. What the hell? Octoling,
Hmm.
Echo of Inkling, just makes sense.
Yeah.
I can see maybe changing the aesthetics of some of the weapons around, especially changing the brush attack into the Octo Brush. Actually, no, is there a brush attack? I might be making that up. Or maybe change the roller into the Octo Brush or something. But
Hmm.
there's so much you can do there. Black Shadow, make him an Echo of Captain Falcon. So obvious, especially if you approach this from a perspective of a soft reboot, with Ganondorf becoming his own character now and no longer being like Captain Falcon, now we have the
Hmm.
Echo Captain Falcon to take that slot. I
Yeah.
mentioned him earlier, Ninten, Echo of Ness, with maybe a little bit of influence there from Lucas, kind of like how
Hmm.
Crom is an echo of both Roy and Ike in a way,
Hmm.
kind of ish.
Hmm.
Funky
Yep.
Kong, Echo of Donkey Kong.
Yep.
Honestly, I just think seeing Funky Kong hitting people with a surfboard is funny. That's the only
Yeah.
reason. I that's all
Would
I
would
care
he
about.
be in would he be in funky mode, always on his surfboard?
I That would be stupid. So no.
Ah, but Nintendo did it.
Well, I mean, yeah, and
Retro
it
did
works
it. I
in
mean,
Donkey Kong, sure, but not in Smash.
yeah,
It's like when
fair.
Sakurai said that, oh, I didn't include Makura because I didn't know how to make him not be on his bikes. Like, he doesn't have to be on the bike the whole time.
Hmm.
Take some liberties, for fuck's sake. You did it with Ganondorf. And then
I'll
my
say
last Echo, just Medusa, Echo Palutena, Goddess of
nice.
Light, Goddess of Darkness.
Hmm.
Easy.
Easy peasy.
Just do it.
Yep. Okay, approaching that same rapid fire style. Uh, First and foremost, if we're gonna have Isaac in and finally give him that sort of credence that arguably deserves since Brawl, we can toss in Felix or Alex or Matthew in as well.
Probably Matthew.
Uh, yeah, and that'd be kind of underwhelming, but it would still be acceptable having two Golden Sun reps involved after all this time. Uh, for Fire Emblem. What's funny is that I have this jotted down as Leaf or Alm to kind of pull from an amalgam of Martha and Ike.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought of something better when we were talking about Anna. So screw the whole pulling from the Sword Fighters game that we did in Ultimate and 4. That's old news, isn't it? Let's pull from the Merchant instead and put Merlinus in, because I am crazy.
Uh, uh,
And have it work very similarly to Anna. But it's
what?
just Merlinus. And he's there. And it's awesome.
Sometimes I think you
You're
make these
welcome,
weird picks
Blazing
just to
Blade
fuck with
fans.
me.
No, I was genuinely excited thinking of it.
See, I also considered a Fire Emblem Echo, but I was thinking just like
Mm-hmm.
maybe Hector or Black Knight as an echo of
Ike.
Ike. Maybe maybe Celica as an echo of Robin, and that was actually the one that almost made my list over Alf. Actually, I almost didn't include
Mm-hmm.
Alf, funnily enough. And I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
rationalize how to make Celica be different from Robin in a unique way. And
Mm-hmm.
but I wound up just going, ah, fuck it, just do Alf.
Merlinus it is. Thank you for coming to this very important speech. Uh, Tom Nook talked about him in Smash Dash as a potential echo amalgam of Isabel and Villager and having a own moves tossed in there. There you go, done. Popular character from a popular series. Easy fanfare without a whole lot of work.
Makes sense.
Now moving on to this new little pet theory of mine called. So far, echoes, before they've been called echoes, as far back as Melee, or as far back as 64 actually, with the Ouija, echoes have always been derivative of characters from their own series. We have Richter from
Um,
Simon. We have Crom from
Ganondorf.
Marth. Yeah, there's Ganondorf. Blah. Sore spot.
I'm
That's
just
true
poking a
though.
hole in the
Mm-hmm.
always.
Yep, but the officially branded echoes, yes, at the very least. Um, we can expand into cross series echoes and have them branded as echoes. Bam. If Little Max stays in the game, that could be our Virtual Boy rep easily. Telero Boxer, toss in Harry as a mech.
Oh shit.
Like, yeah, and maybe give him better aerial because he's a freaking robot.
Yeah.
And there you go, like a more viable little mech that would actually be kind of fun. Uh, to that same end, kind of a little bit of a diversified, maybe even Ken-like change on Mach Rider with Excite Bike or Excite Biker, whatever they're going to call him. That could be easy fun. And another easy retro rep. And finally, not Shadow, because as we know from Jamie in our previous episode, Shadow sucks. Well, that's up for debate. But Captain Rainbow for a Captain Falcon Echo. I too have a Captain
Okay.
Falcon Echo, but it's Captain Rainbow. The only thing
Interesting.
that comes to mind there is that Captain Rainbow has a form outside of the Captain Rainbow, and I forget that his name. I think he's Nick.
Nick,
I
yeah.
would have to double check. Yeah, but in a true to form Captain Rainbow moveset, Nick would probably be involved in some way. Like, oh, there would be a gauge, and over time he'd become Captain Rainbow. Uh,
Or it's just the entrance
yeah,
animation. He turns into Captain Rainbow.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like no one wants to play as Captain Rainbow to be Nick.
Yeah.
So have this really strange footnote in Nintendo's history come around, and instead of having a Falcon Punch, you have a Rainbow Punch.
Absolutely. All the fire
Boom.
imagery would be replaced with rainbows, and that would be interesting.
That would be. And then maybe characters from the island in Captain Rainbow could appear in Captain Rainbow's taunts, cheering him
Like
on.
Little Mac.
Like, yeah, like exactly. Like Little Mac, like Birdo with
Takamaru,
that
Birdo.
Birdo's fabled tale in Captain Rainbow that touched all of our hearts. Look that up, everyone over 18. And yeah,
Well, that's an
so
interesting
those are
list
my
of
six.
echoes.
Mm-hmm.
You caught me off guard with a couple of them there.
Yep.
But I mean, for the I mean, echoes they're a really easy thing to come up with. There's some characters that it's hard or impossible to make one out, like Rob,
Yep.
uh,
Mega
Game and
Rob.
Watch. What are you
Mrs.
gonna
Game
do
and
for Duck
Watch.
Hunt? There's nothing.
Hunt duck.
No, no, no,
Where the dog is on top of the duck.
no, 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 no.
Okay.
Behave now. I mean, I had a lot of possible echoes written down. I had a list of
Hmm.
33 that I had to
Yep.
shorten down to 6, and it was not easy because I considered, hey,
Hmm.
you could do Impa of Sheik, Galactonite of Meta Knight, maybe
Oh yeah.
Gardevoir of Mewtwo,
Hmm.
Foreman Spike of Wario.
Hmm.
You could do like the third parties. Most of them have a possibility. Zack from Cloud, Proto Man from Mega Man, Shadow from Sonic. But there's so much that you can do with Echoes. And I think I'm just we touched on this before, but I'm really glad that they actually came up with that official terminology because it
Hmm.
really reduced most of the hatred from the fan base towards clone characters.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like the idea was finally driven to
Absolutely.
people's minds that these do not take up a slot. Shut
Hmm.
up.
Hmm.
But we talked a lot about what we could see in the future Smash Brothers, like what could be next. We've really talked about so far just potentially how the project could be approached, as well as what characters could be left behind or could be added. But there's so much more. There is so much
Oh,
more that we can
absolutely.
touch on. And I'm
Absolutely.
telling you all right now, guys, this is going to be a long one. And if you're not already on part two, we're going to be hitting a part two with this massive discussion. Because we got more to
Absolutely.
go. Oh,
I think that
man.
characters are always a lion's share. So let's
Yeah.
say that right now. Okay, this marks the end of part one with characters. Move on to the next podcast for part two.